Okay, so let's take a look at how you can set up DevOps in Azure. So there are multiple ways to approach this part. So you can take a look at DevOps in Azure. Here you can see the DevOps starter option. It will have its own page. Another option would be going through your DevOps services in Google. You can check out. So sorry, let me type in Azure DevOps. Right, so here we click on Azure DevOps services, and from here we can start free. Right, so this is the most common way to go through instead of going through our resources here. So click on start free. It will require you to have Outlook account, right? So I already have Outlook account, and then next thing it's choosing the country, right? Then click continue. Right, you will host your projects in the region. You can choose the region wherever you want. You can choose Central US, Southeast Asia. So depending on wherever you want, you can pick that. So I will choose Southeast Asia. Then I will choose the CAPTCHA. The CAPTCHA comes in because it kind of thinks that we need to be rechecked before we are given any access. So I don't know why it is creating this issue. So let's try and use that, or otherwise I can click new. So yes, YPWSGB, right? Now click continue, and it will take me to Azure DevOps account. Now I can link this with my Azure account here. So initial step, however, was to sign up through its own DevOps services from here, right? You can also connect your GitHub repository. Right now it will ask me to start with a project. So let's say I create a private project. So let's start with project name as DevNami itself, right? So to change things, I will use a different name. So every brand specific task would come under this project name, right? Then I will click on create project. Right, now that we have entered into our DevOps, we can see that this interface allows us some of the options on the left hand side, right? So the most critical one to look at are boards, reports, pipelines, test plans, and artifacts. This is where our entire workflow will be. Other options like dashboard, wiki will be used every now and then, but mostly our work will be specific to these 5 areas, right? It will ask you to start with boards, reports, pipelines, test plans, and artifacts. So I will be covering this particular step separately, right? Because I want to address one component at a time for our DevOps, right? So I will cover boards related session separately, reports, pipelines, test plans, and artifacts. I will try to connect between them, but we will just go through entire Azure DevOps here, right? So we take a look at some of the things like overview page should give you access to the page here. Then comes summary, which won't have anything considering we are not adding any elements. Then comes dashboard, and then we will also take a look at wiki, right? So here We can also meanwhile take a look at DevOps, right? So let's try and connect our current account with this one. So here if I use the DevOps starter and try and connect it, let's see where it takes us. Meanwhile, here is our dashboard. Here I can add the widgets, refresh, new widgets, or when I delete anything I can refresh and my dashboard would be showing relevant updates, right? Next comes wiki, where you see the wiki page where we can add the project, then add the code published within wiki. Those things we can try. There is also instance search, you can try that, right? Now comes the project settings. So in case of project settings, we will be taking a look at variety of things that we can do. For example, I can change the project name, description, process we are setting basic, you can change that to, let's see what are my options. So currently here within basic I can work with types like epics, issue, task, test case, test plan, test suite. There are also backlog levels, right, and also the project levels within that. Next thing, we will move to our other options. Like here you see we have our URL that I can use to access my DevOps account, right? Then there is privacy URL, and I can also add the time zone. So I'm in UTC 5:30. I will save that, right? Then currently I'm the only owner. Then there are projects that will be listed here. Then there are users I can invite and get the work done, right? Then you have your own access levels that can be changed and can use stakeholder, Visual Studio subscriber, or basic. Considering I'm not a VS Studio subscriber or even stakeholder, so it will keep the things to basic, which is okay because that will keep the account as free. There is also billing option, so if you happen to upgrade you would be dealing with this particular page. Then there are notification, usage, extension, and Active Directory option, right? So here you see Azure Active Directory. So connecting the organization to Active Directory happens here, right? Then let's take a look at extensions we are allowed to use. Currently I can browse the marketplace and then check all the extension. I can also check my basic access level usage, and we can even see the things that we are allowed to access. So here you see currently usage is sorted. And then notifications, currently there aren't any much, so we don't have much to view here, though it will try and show the initial notifications if there are any, and you can see them here, right? Then comes policies. From security side you can turn on and off some of the features like third-party application access or allowing public project, which I don't do because I want everything private and controlled within the organization. I can also invite GitHub users, so it would be possible to interact within DevOps. Then comes permissions. So we are going to restrict the users on number of tasks, so we will be giving permission accordingly. Then comes boards, pipelines, repos, and artifacts related settings. So we will be taking a look at them separately while covering each of them in session. So this was overall your DevOps project and also your DevOps basic level account, which you can take a look at. You can also take a look at your organization settings, so you can control the name URL of your account, right? So here, as you can see, within DevOps starters, we have initial choice of choosing framework and going through steps. Now, DevOps starters in near future will be depreciated and totally removed. So we have to make use of the default Azure DevOps option outside, right? So now the thing is, if you want to connect your Azure account with this particular DevOps, then that is also possible. There are marketplace extension that specifically connect to, let's say, a VM or any other resources to keep track of your project, right? So we will take a look at individual items like board, reports, pipelines, artifacts, etc. within Azure DevOps.